Yeet.
All right, welcome back,
Stopped.
everybody, to week 2, episode 2 of Zanalsin. Last we left off, we were leaving a conversation with Councilman Varro about what the mission is, and the group was headed back to see Weary one last time to get some information about what some of the potential symptoms of the plague look like. And we'll say that with the relationship that Quellic and Weary have established already, Weary is more than happy to share any of the information that he has, and the group learns that some of the very specific signs of the plague include jaundice, yellowing of the skin, sunken cheekbones, flesh that is actually beginning to peel off, constant states of pain, so muscle ache and fatigue, hair loss, and one of the big telltale signs is blackening of the veins in the eyes. So he says to you specifically to take a very close look at their eyes and look for the veins inside of their eyes to be bloodshot, but rather than red as you would typically expect, that the veins would show as black. So that's what we're looking for. Quellic also went and found a chain to secure his pin, his Kraken pin to, and has that now around his neck. And we went down to the dock and spoke with them about the conversation had with Varro and the mission set ahead of them, and that they are headed to Port Gallo. Bro, the burritos.
That's the hookup.
So you've been outfitted with a small ship.
Can I ask something else about the plague? Because
Sure.
he gave me that information. Do we know? Is there? I mean, obviously, there's the cure. Is there a cure or a way that the Zymed have to eradicate the plague? I mean, is there treatment for it, or is it just you got it? Sorry about your luck. Hope you're reincarnated as a bear.
So this isn't something that's public knowledge, so I'm going to have you go ahead and give me a persuasion check to try to get that information out of Weary.
With advantage?
Well,
No?
you can choose to use your advantage if you'd like to use your inspiration.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Easy come, easy go. Let's roll with advantage.
Oh, shit.
And we're going to use persuasion.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Suck.
Okay, so a 15. He tells you about them attempting to get a cure from some of the families that are immune to the plague. He doesn't go into specific detail about what that looks like, but he does tell you that there's no known cure as of right now, but they're working on trying to derive a cure from the immune families. Belril. This makes you particularly uneasy. For whatever reason, you're not exactly sure why, but something about the way that the information was presented to you strikes you as particularly, just unsettling. No one else really picks up on it except for Belril, though.
Like it's something I've heard before?
Not necessarily that you've heard it before, but you know that there's something unsavory about the way that they're trying to get this cure.
Soy the greenest people!
Yeah,
So-
that's not the cure we're looking to initiate.
So,
Cure, not just a bad band from the 80s.
Yes.
so down to the dock, talking to the dock hands. You tell them all the information that you have from Varro, what your mission is, etc. And they ask you if you need any additional provisions for the trip. Oh, I'm sorry.
Were we given food for the trip?
No. Weary, however, did give you a kind of a pseudo test kit and recommended to you that you test some of the soil as well as the water in Port Gallo and bring back those samples to see what the extent of the blight is that still exists in Port Gallo. So, any additional provisions? Cinderstone said, yeah, we gonna be hungry. And the dockhand comes back with rations for everybody. And so these rations are not particularly fantastic rations, right? They're just enough to sustain you, so think kind of MREs, right? These are not great. They're not burritos. They're like bread and rice and maybe some cured meats. And so he brings it back, and you can each add 10 days rations to your inventory. So he sets you up on a ship. He gives you a map and says, is there anything else we can do for you?
No, I'm good.
10 days ration sounds great, but how long is the trip?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Port Gallo is probably a day's sail away.
Oh, okay.
It's not far. Okay.
Do we have everything we need to legit make this ship go? Like, enough hands on deck to move this thing?
Yeah. It's not a very large ship. It's enough for 4 people, right? So.
Oh, you're telling me. I don't know.
It's a schooner.
For 4 people?
It's a rowboat.
It is not a rowboat. Okay. So,
But there are.
Yo ho.
But we're 3.5 of us. Where did we get such a fine vessel?
should have plenty of room then. So, on the ship, let's talk about a couple of things. So, number 1, who is going to be the navigator?
I mean, I've technically piloted a vessel before.
Right. I mean, we're both kind of. But should we
okay.
be navigating?
I haven't exactly read a map. I've just been given commands.
Maybe we should have asked the guys at the dock for a navigator. Row back into port and ask for a navigator.
Send the halfling to swim.
No one's comfortable navigating?
Well, I was reading, I am pretty good at exploration, but that's off the coast, so...
Wait. Technically, Josh, because you gave me this. Advantage on rolls to navigate or traverse rough waters and bad weather. So the verbiage is I can navigate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't ask me unless the sea is calm. If the sea is calm, I don't know shit.
You also kind of know where you're going, right?
I probably would.
I would hope so.
It's left. Is it left? I have a 50% chance to fuck this up.
Okay. So, are we saying Cinderstone is navigating?
I'm confident in his ability.
Okay.
All have our skills.
To make a choice between left or right.
Alright.
What? Okay, yeah.
Part of the cards.
What's up?
Nothing. I'm good, let's go.
Okay. Alright. So,
I'm done with one of my rations.
Now,
I better.
this is about a day's trip away. So, the way that it's going to work is you each will have to rest at some point during this trip. So, we'll say for the first 14 to 16 hours, you should be fine. No one will have to rest. After that, we're going to have to each take turns resting, and this is when it's going to start to get dark. So, what order are we going to rest in?
Well, the two of us, Jay and I, have experience moving the ship.
Correct.
So we alternate sleep patterns to make sure one of us is coherent to helm the ship.
We're covering the ship. Me and him are alternating. The other two.
So is this
They're just getting wasted and high.
Is this a is this a 24-hour like straight job?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we can, somehow stagger the sleep patterns, and at night it would be ideal if at some point in time, depending on how those overlap, our two navigator folks,
Netscape navigators.
our Netscape navigators, maybe they're both out while it's
Alta Vista.
the darkest, so we get where we need to go.
Okay. So, I'm going to make a couple rolls for no particular reason, just...
/GM roll, it'll hide it from us. Unless it's on your stream, in which case we'll see it.
Oh, I see it.
Rip.
Who you know for until 4 seconds after we're dead.
Okay. So, who is sleeping second?
Who wants to navigate at night?
Well, I mean, is that?
So, I'm assuming that Belrill and Cinderstone are going to be awake during the second two shifts together. So one of the two of you will sleep first, then the other one will sleep, and then Quelloc will sleep, and then Minx will sleep. But the two of you have already said that you want to be awake during the late hours of the night when the navigation is going to be most difficult.
Yes.
So which of you is sleeping first?
I will not sleep first.
Okay, so you are sleeping second, Cinderstone, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Belrill, I need you to roll me a survival check, please.
Oh, oof.
Yikes.
5.
So, during your shift, Belrill, the winds begin to pick up.
The cameras work?
The winds begin to pick up. The waters start to get turbulent, and you have a difficult time keeping the ship on course. And let's see.
I call bullshit horse physics.
Horse physics, yep.
Horse physics.
Scaling a mountain in the middle of the ocean.
With a 6, not very good. You manage to hit a rock. Pretty significant rock. So, while attempting to keep the sails under control, because one of them was pretty bad off at the time, you
got a bad boat?
I just said the winds began to pick up, the seas started, or the water started to get turbulent, and the sails were blowing pretty hard. And so you were attempting to lower the sail so that it wouldn't get torn or start to push the ship in the wrong direction. And as you were lowering the sail, the wind grabbed the sail and averted the ship off of the course that it was on, and it hits a rock. So everyone is woken up by this, jarred pretty hard. How do you respond?
Wow.
Where did that rock come from?
Well, I would assume that knowing ship operation and the fact that we just hit something, I'm going to go check for holes.
Okay. You do find a pretty significant hole.
Damage assessment.
You do find a pretty significant hole.
Do we
you have been given things to repair the hull of the ship if anything were to happen like that.
Are we
Doing
taking
inventory.
on water, Captain?
You're
Yeah.
starting to, yeah. It's not to the point where it's unmanageable at this point, but it's going to quickly get out of hand if you don't address it immediately.
I will address it immediately.
Okay, so you're going to work on repairing it. What's everybody else doing? Are you giving anybody hey, you need to do this, I need to do this? Like,
wait a second. Sit
Stuff
rep
the half
here.
on the hole.
So, okay, I see that there is stuff going on. There is actual damage to the hull. I know that. I'm going to go up and I'm going to tell Jay about it, who's helming the ship currently. I'm going to assess if he's in need of assistance on the deck or if everyone can go underneath and start repairing the ship.
he
It's
could
still
definitely...
windy.
He could definitely use your help getting the sails down because the wind is still ripping the boat all over the place because the sails are still up.
Right.
Okay. Are the rest of them on deck?
Yes,
They're sleeping.
they're sleeping right now, but they were just woken up by
Yeah.
the crash. So
Do we have a crew, or is it just us?
just the four of you.
No, it's just
I'm
us.
going to turn to Narfi and I'm going to ask her to furl the sails.
Yeah, I can climb and do that.
Yeah, 'cause she can climb and do that and hopefully not get taken away by the wind.
Before
And
he
we're
even
gonna
finishes the sentence, I'm already doing it.
And I would ask
then-
Doc. Go ahead.
to plug the hole.
Yes. And
Okay.
I will assist top deck with other sailing things like making everything go smoother or taking the helm if
Getting the
needed.
sails down before they all get damaged.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will do my best. If I need to hold my breath, I can do it for an hour.
All right.
Yeah.
So I need each of you to roll me a survival check.
Everyone.
Everyone,
Please be better.
yes.
How do I
Now
do
remember, you do still have inspiration if you decide to use the inspiration.
Oh, boy.
Too late, already rolled.
that? Okay, what's my survival?
On the
Cool.
left-hand side, or above where it says skills, the one directly above the word skills is your survival. You just click on the word survival.
Seasoned sailor, do I get an advantage?
I don't see it.
Left-hand
Is it M?
side of your sheet, there's a box that says skills with all of your skills in it.
Okay.
Acrobatics, animal handling, arcana, athletics. There you go. Okay.
Okay, I got a 14.
And I need one from Quillock.
Question, do I get an advantage on that survival because of my seasoned sailor that I posted?
You are not
Does this fall
repairing
under
the
that?
ship, my friend.
Okay. I didn't know if this was part of the navigating or not.
What is that rolled out of?
What?
Do we know? Like, I got a 14 out of what?
I'm going to tell you what happens based on your rolls. So first and
Okay.
foremost, Quillock is doing a fantastic job stemming the bleeding on the ship. He's got the hole pretty much completely plugged up quickly. You've taken on some water, but not a whole lot. However, Minx is also doing a great job climbing up and doing exactly what you tell her to do in getting the sails down. However, the problem with it is that Cinderstone's not giving very good advice on what to do. So
Fuck.
she's doing exactly what he says very well, but he's not doing a very good job telling her what should be done next.
Conveying the details.
Yes. So she's doing exactly as he says, and unfortunately exactly as he says is not very good. So
What are some things that he's saying?
Does Belreal realize they're
Swim in
standing
water.
there? They're standing there together. Does he realize that the instructions maybe aren't the best, and could say to Cinderstone, "Here, you take the
That sounds
helm."
like an advantage.
I got a better idea.
Unfortunately, Belrill rolled equally
Sounds
as
like
poor. And
Yay.
Belrill believes that they're doing exactly what they should be doing.
Looks pretty fucking good. Keep it up, shipmate.
So the sails, all of the ropes and everything end up in a giant knot. Minx is currently hanging from one of the ropes by her foot, because as she undid one of them that Cinderstone told her to undo, the sail got caught by the wind and pulled the rope, and she ended up hanging upside down by her ankle, wrapped in a knot in the ropes. So the ship
Can I
is...
roll something to get out of that, like, quickly?
Yeah, here in just a second. So the ship is kind of all over the place right now. And Quellic is being tossed around as he's doing a really good job plugging up the hole, but hasn't been able to start getting the water off of the boat yet, because he's getting tossed all over the place by whatever the hell you guys are doing up top. So,
Sit right back.
Minx, give me an acrobatics check to try to free yourself from the rope knot that Cinderstone just instructed you into. Okay, yeah, you do a pretty good job. You get yourself out. You get everything straightened out again. Belrill and Cinderstone, let's have one of you roll survival with the assistance of the other one for advantage, and see if we can right this.
So I rolled piss poor last time. I'm gonna let Jay roll the thing, and I'm gonna.
He rolled a 6 and then a 9.
Well, I mean, I rolled a 6, so we're even.
All right, survival with advantage.
Yep. All right.
I'm gonna just be the supportive boy. Jesus, fuck.
What does that mean? You got the same.
So, after realizing that whatever it was that you guys were doing was not working, Belrill quickly corrects course and gets everything under control. So
We
at
gotta
this
get
point,
better.
you have been given enough supplies on the ship to repair the damage of a ship, pretty extensive damage of the ship, 3 times. You have used one of them now. So, you've gotten everything righted. You still have water on the boat, though, so we'll say that you guys, once the sails are down and you've gotten the ship back under control, that you start to get the water off of the boat. And then we'll continue on from there. This probably takes you about an hour, so it's going to cut into your rest time, and none of you will have gotten a full long rest from this, which as of right now is really not a big deal. So back to the order. The rest of the navigation goes off without a hitch. Sun begins to come up, and as the sun begins to come up, everyone is awoken by the heat, and Belrill and Cinderstone, you guys see your destination up ahead. So you steer the ship over to the dock.
Looks like our destination.
You arrive at the dock, and you're greeted by a dockhand that helps you to secure the ship and asks you how your travels were.
Do we have any
Rough.
inclination to lie for some sort of gain?
How would your character respond? Is your character a proud person that wouldn't want anybody to know that they fucked up?
Our travels was kind of iffy at one point, but we handled it.
He kind of chuckles a little bit, and he goes, "You guys look like a good group of travelers. I'm sure that it shouldn't have been
The
so bad."
best.
We got a wet turtle.
Wet turtle. He says, "Good. We'll tend to your ship." And he hands you a coin, and you guys are pretty familiar with this. You know that the coin is the way that you retrieve your boat when you come back. So he hands you a coin, and he says, "Is there anything I can help you guys with?"
I
Indeed.
really need to use the bathroom.
I would ask if, while we're at port, you flash a little, hey, I don't pay for ship badge. But I would ask them to give the ship a look over to see if it's seaworthy again with our repairs.
He says, "Absolutely, Zymad. I'd be more than happy to do that for you." And he does.
I ain't got to pay for shit. See my little badge?
Is this a
Actually,
Zymed port?
I think we're going to leave this one here and we're going to take an upgrade.
We'll take an
It's like a rental car, right?
This one wasn't quite big enough. My suitcases wouldn't fit in the back. We're going to take the Escalade next time.
R// just rolled up to the shop.
I mean, this pendant, this pin has got to be good for something.
I mean, I've returned it with a full
Don't
tank
pay
of
for
gas.
shit, but I demand shit.
All right. He says,
So,
"Sure,
I
sure,
think-
no problem. We'll look over it for you." What brings you guys to Port Gallo today?
We are on official Zymad business. Would you please point us to the leader of your team?
Kind of chuckles a little bit. He says, "Look around, friend. There's not much to lead here, is there?"
Not really.
There is someone who looks out for the town's best interests.
Do I know this information because I've been here before?
Yeah, you sure do.
Okay. Do I actually know, or do I
No, you know.
think I know?
No, you know.
Okay,
you,
so then
you
I'll-
also know the dockhand who is looking over the ship now. Like, you've worked
Oh,
with
good.
him.
Oh, dope. Does he recognize me? Do I have to make that kind of awkward side glare where I'm like, we know each other, but I don't really want to notify that I know you, and we're just going to give each other a passing glance, like at Walmart where you see that old guy, you really don't want to
He is familiar
Smells
with
like cabbage.
He's familiar with the Zymad way, and he knows that unless you bring it up, he will not bring up your past, because that's your choice whether you decide to make that public knowledge or not. So he does the awkward glance, right? Somebody you saw from high school that you don't know if you actually want to approach them or not, and when he recognizes that you're averting eye contact, he does the same.
Okay. Well, I will turn to our druid and tell him that I know person A would have this information.
I went
Yeah,
to prom with that guy.
it's kind of like a neighborhood watch, right? Where this group of people has appointed themselves to protecting Port Gallo, and they have what could roughly be called a headquarters that's at the local inn. They kind of hang out at one particular table at the bar, and they wait for somebody to come up and say, "Hey, this is going on," and then they go handle it.
So I would tell him, in my time spent here at Port, I know that there is a neighborhood watch committee for crime in the area.
Very
And
well.
they
We
said-
will follow your lead.
Oh, okay.
So you make your way to the tavern where you know that they typically are. And when you enter the tavern, there they are. There's about 5 of them all gathered around a table, and they're playing cards and drinking merrily, and they're obviously intoxicated, visibly intoxicated, and it's very early in the morning, so it would stand to reason that they've probably been up all night drinking and playing cards and probably have not slept, and they're still drunk from the previous night.
We haven't slept from our travels, have we?
No. Well, you guys
Oh,
slept,
wow.
but not enough to get a long rest because of the interruption that happened. No
Okay.
fatigue though, because you did get a short rest. No fatigue.
Okay.
So as you enter, do you address them directly or?
Yeah, I do.
Hello, Kyle.
Hello, neighborhood watch. The old lady sitting at the table, telling us about that kid that got on her lawn. So, what do these people actually look like? Like, are they just well-armed civilians,
Not even
or are
well
they
armed.
just drunks?
Not
drunks
even
in tattered
well-armed.
clothing?
Yep, they're a homely group of people who are the bigger of the guys there and have weapons. And so because they have weapons, they've decided that they're going to be the militia, right? They're going to take care of anybody that does stupid shit or, But
How many are there?
there's 5 of them at the table.
3.5
One
of
for
us.
each of us.
You also know, having been there, that they don't deal with like petty theft or, if someone beats someone up in a drunken brawl, they're not going to get involved. Like everybody's pretty much left
No,
to
'cause
their
it's
own
probably
devices. They've probably been in multiple bar brawls in their time. So you approach them and say,
I
"What?"
got home field advantage though.
What's that?
Who's Cinderstone? You got us here. Are you gonna continue to take the lead and talk to these guys, or do you want me to?
I mean, if
Flash my
you
octopus and-
if you want to go ahead and do your whole little badge, I'm the druid.
Okay.
You have
All-
the badge somewhere.
So there,
I wish I
there's-
knew.
there's 5 of them, and they're all men.
Male.
4 of them are obviously men. The other one, you're
Obviously.
not sure.
Okay.
Like facial hair and stuff like that. The other one, you're really not sure. There's no facial hair to discern, but
Humans?
So
yes,
it's all
they're all humans.
Well, then I will wander over near their table
Wonder.
and try to get their attention with a info. I have been sent to the Zymet. May I speak with you?
The one looks at you, and it's a guy with long, scraggly, blonde dreadlocks and a very patchy, long beard. He's very dark complexion, as if he spends his entire life out in the sun. Like tanned leather skin, very gruff, scars on his face. He pushes his chair back and he stands up and kind of stumbles and he says, "Aye, a fucking turtle!"
By my beard.
In
That'll
Are
do.
these human? Are they all human? The race?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Can I step out
Indeed.
from behind the turtle? Just be like, who said that?
Yeah. He looks down and he goes, "Jesus Christ, what happened to you?"
We left part of her on the boat. Now, you are very perceptive in that I am a turtle. It is not a trick of your intoxication.
Man, nothing gets by this guy.
Certainly not a drink.
As you say that, he lifts his beer up and goes, "A drink!" And the whole bar cheers and knocks back their drink.
Is this early morning too?
Yep, it's
All
like
right.
really early in the morning.
This is like college all over again. Who is it that I have the pleasure of addressing?
He says, "I'm Knock."
Mac?
Knock, yeah, Knock.
Knock. Very good, Sir Knock. We've been sent here by the Zyme. We are told you have some Interesting visitors.
Oh, the fucking sick ones! Yeah!
Indeed. Is demand an audience with these so-called sick ones. Will you escort us?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Hey! The fucking sick ones! And he, starts to leave.
Guess that's our cue.
This guy is drunk, not very intelligent, and just a big, burly, dopey son of a bitch that has no qualms about being offensive.
Okay.
So he starts to walk out of the bar.
I mean,
What pair of shoes is he wearing? The sick one.
He's wearing a pair of shoe.
Yeah. He's wearing a single sandal. The other one has been lost. As he starts to leave the bar, he turns around and he says, "Oi, you fucking coming or what?"
I will look
I'm
at my
right behind
companion
you. Keep walking.
He's a little slow.
and nod, and so we will follow him.
Okay. So he takes you kind of stumbling his way through this not pretty port, right? It's full of passed out people all over the place. There's half empty barrels of something around. There's broken crates laying about everywhere. There's literal shit just in the middle of the town. There's people dumping buckets of waste out their windows and tossing it off of their steps. It is not a pretty place to be.
This town square, Chamber Pot Square.
And so as he's walking, he goes, "Hey, watch the shit, would you?" And he keeps walking, and he's stumbling his way through.
I'm watching it.
I feel like I want to jump on the back of the turtle.
Jump on the back of the turtle. Okay.
I will let her.
Okay.
I understand.
As he's
reason
walking,
we should both be wallowing. in this mess.
he comes up to a building it's in shambles. The door is barely hanging on by a single hinge, and the top of it is just broken to pieces. So it closes, but it doesn't really serve much of a purpose. And as he walks up, there's a guy that's passed out right in front of the building, sitting in an old beat-up rocking chair. And the guy takes the scimitar that's in his hand, and he prods it into the guy's side, and he goes, "Ay, fuck, wake up! The Zymads are here for the sick ones!" And the guy kind of comes to a little bit, and he looks up and he goes, "Hell, man!" The guy says, the Zymads, they're here for the sick ones, damn it!" And he turns around and he just starts to walk away. And so the other guy, very old guy, skin and bones with a bulging belly from, poor nutrition, and he stands up and he's wearing literally nothing but a pair of tattered and torn up pants that only come down to the middle of his thigh. Again, same leather skin and sunken in face and scars, and just a very rough life this guy has lived. And he stands up and he says, "Do you get close and inspect his eyes?"
We're supposed to be looking out for that.
Sure. Is that what you want to do?
I want to look at his eyes. I want to make sure he's not also a sick ones.
Okay. So how do you go about it?
Look with my special eyes.
My brand. I look and I get close enough that I can smell them, and it's a unique smell, and
It's not pleasant, that's for sure.
I look. Do I notice anything unusual?
His eyes are very bloodshot, but very bright red. There's no blackening that's happening. His eyes look like that of a drunken guy that's gotten 20 minutes of sleep and then been woken up by a scimitar to the side.
So he worships a different sick one. Got it.
And as you get close to him like that, he kind of reels back a little bit and he says, "You okay, mate?"
Yes. Could or couldn't be my first time in this port. I just wanted to get a good look at you.
He laughs and he
Make sure
says,
you're okay.
He laughs and he says, "Oh, don't worry. The smell of shit kind of grows on you eventually." And he like cackles this loud, high-pitched laugh. And
That's fungus.
and he,
Can I just peer over Quellic's shoulder, looking down at him?
yeah, sure. Quellic's not particularly tall. He's what are you, 6 foot tall? It's not particularly tall.
Right around that.
Still 3 times as tall as her.
But it's significantly taller than what you're used to, yeah. So he notices you,
out of the shit.
and he doesn't say anything about the fact that there's a turtle, but he does say he does look up at you and he laughs and he says, "Riding a turtle," and that's all he says. And so he turns around and he opens
That's
the
right,
door.
today.
He opens the door and he walks in, and there's no lights in this building whatsoever except for the light that's coming through the ceiling that's missing in places. And he picks up a stick off of the ground and he beats it on something, and you hear like a wood on metal sound, and he says, "Wake up! Wake up!" And you hear some like rummaging taking place inside the building, and he says, "Well, I think they're awake. They're all yours. I need some fucking sleep." And he goes back outside and he sits back in his chair, and he picks up a hat that's laying next to him, puts it over his face.
How big is the room?
So as you walk in, there's probably about a 25 to 30 foot straight shot hallway, and on either side of you there's about 10 foot by 10 foot metal barred cages with just people in them. There's probably about 6 to 8 people in each one of the cages.
8 people in each, and there's 2 cages.
There's
So
2
somewhere
cages,
between
yep.
12 to 16 people.
Yep.
Okay. I assume based on lighting conditions, we can't see them very well.
You do not have any kind of dark vision or low light vision, correct?
I can see them.
Quellic does not.
I do not, but I do have Druid correct. Make a little light.
Correct. You
special
do
eyes.
not. Belrill, however, does have dark vision.
Dark eyes.
So this this I would say is probably low light with some areas being total darkness. You're clicking on all kind of stuff, my friend. You clicked on Druidcraft 4 times.
Well, I thought I was going to bring it up in the character. Just want you to know.
Okay.
No,
He is aware.
I assume we don't have a torch.
I'm sure you could probably fashion something and light it with the mess that's all around you.
Ew.
All
We
right.
can assume that the people that are in the cages are the sick ones.
Yeah, I mean, they said, "Oh, the fucking sick ones," and brought you to this building, so you would assume so, yeah.
Do I know? Do I have knowledge that Belrill has a little better eyesight than most in the dark?
I don't
I think I gave it away when I got closer to
I don't think that it's typically character knowledge that one
Okay.
particular race can see better in the dark than others. But he could very well say, "Yeah, I can see in here just fine."
Okay, so I'll say, you need some light. And then
We do?
You can see. You can see them, Belrule?
Plain as day.
Tell me, what is it that you...
What is it that I see?
So as you guys are talking, everyone has just been woken up. It's very early in the morning. There's 2 kids in the left cage that are sub 10 years old, and there are 4 kids in the right cage that are pretty young. It looks as though this is 2 families, like, mom, dad, kids, possibly grandparents, in each one of the cages that have been separated because these are 2 distinct families. The kids, now that they've been woken up, are very scared. They're kind of clawing towards the eldest male.
So
one of them is crying.
Each cage has its own unique family.
You would assume so by looking at it, just by the makeup of the cage. There's an older man, there's a middle-aged man, there's an older woman, there's a middle-aged woman, there's a couple of kids. You would assume that this is probably a household, right? Where they have come to Port Gallo and have not been accepted very well and been thrown in these
Family
cages.
is still together, though. Not split up. Okay.
You would assume so, yeah. And so
We are
you see the
not in
kids,
Arizona.
they're very scared, they're crying, they're clinging to the father figure. They see a giant orc and a turtle standing in front of them. They're terrified. It's early in the morning. They've just been woken up by some shit-smelling old man beating on the cage that they've been locked in for Lord only knows how
Okay.
long. Go ahead.
Can I get down there and start smiling at him, try to interact?
I thought she was like, I'm not in a cage.
yeah,
Start
sure.
dancing.
Minx, caution is the most
Quillet can kind of pull me away, maybe.
yeah
Sure,
yeah
sure.
you try to start coming down off of my shell, and I'll just put a hand on you and say, please
Hold
pause.
your horses.
Mhm.
Okay.
I can look back at it like I didn't understand or I feel sad.
Sure, sure.
Not even these families are split up.
Belril, you are attempting to look at them to see if you see any signs of what you're looking for as far as the plague is.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they're truly the sick ones.
Sure. All right, so go ahead and give me an investigation or medicine. It's up to you. You're doing one of 2 things here. You're either looking for the very specific things that Weary told you to look out for, or you're looking for any signs of sickness. So if you're looking for the very specific things, we'll do investigation. If you're looking for general signs of sickness and non-well-being, then we'll do a medicine check.
And does my better vision give me an advantage in this role?
No. Okay, so 16 on a medicine check. You definitely notice that there's something not well with these people.
Not specifically.
You see some of the symptoms, the sunken in face, the jaundice. In this light, though, you cannot look at their eyes well enough to see if you can see that one specific telltale sign. And you're really you're looking at them for basic well-being. These guys are not well. They're sick of something. They are emaciated from lack of nutrition, lack of food. They are beat up from travel and being thrown in this cage. They're not very well off. The cage that they're in, the floor is covered with this just disgusting something sludge that they're laying and sitting in. It's not good for them at all, whatever it is.
Question
Yes.
about this. One observation: it's kind of funny that Belrule Dark Eyes has the best vision for us.
Hey, hold on.
Just pointing that out. But were we told? So maybe I missed this when they were explaining the travelers that came here. Did we know that they were in cages? Did we know that they were like being treated like this?
No. You knew that they were quarantined, but that was all that they reported to the Zymads was we have these travelers in quarantine. They didn't tell you anything further about them.
Were
They're
we told?
alive.
Right, but were we told how this disease could be contracted, and were we warned how to avoid it? I mean, like we're literally right next to people that are sick with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
No one told us how to be around people who are sick with this thing.
Just gotta show them the badge, and the badge.
So,
So the badge will just wipe away the disease and decay.
Get it off of me.
Power of God compels you.
I'm going to say that Weary probably would have warned you of this, and he would have told you that what they know of the plague is that it's transmitted one of two ways, through direct contact or bodily fluid. They do not think that it's an airborne disease. They think that the plague initiated because the water was desiccated. The water was cast a blight on the water, and they consumed the water, and that's how they contracted it. But no one knows for sure where it originated from, but they do know that any kind of bodily fluid exchange. So if someone were bleeding and you were to touch it, or someone were to spit in your face, you could potentially get it that way. But as far as like airborne, they don't think that it can be spread through the air, but they don't know for sure.
Okay.
So he
we've
probably
got-
would have warned you of that, yeah.
We've got an initial look at them. Let's. I
have-
will motion to the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say uncharacter question.
Mhm.
How do we level up?
So I'm going to be, because I don't want us to focus too much on experience, we're going to level based off of milestones. So I'm not going to be awarding specific experience, like you get this much experience for killing this person, or you get 50 experience for the way that you role-played through that encounter. Rather, we're going to do milestone-based leveling.
So haven't we hit
Why is that, Josh?
milestone?
No, we gotta fix something first. I mean, all we've done so far is eat and
Well,
basically
we
feel good.
and we-
I'm not-
Poop.
We met and we gathered our group. That's a milestone.
that
It is.
allows us to be level 1.
It's that allows you to be level 1, exactly.
No,
we were
that's
level
kind of the
1
trick.
already.
Well, it depends. Some cases you do start 0 and then you go up
Okay.
to 1. Other
All right.
cases, yeah, you're right. But I think what Josh is trying to say, once you, it's like an achievement
All right.
sort of thing. When you achieve something, you will get rewarded with progression.
Must split
Cool,
these
progress.
families apart from their children. That's an
Right.
achievement.
When we burn the
Burn
town
it.
with sacred flame, that I wish I had, because it would have been done
All right.
on port.
I just want to
So-
put the kids in cages.
You know.
All right. So, initial
guys are
investigation, you definitely know that they are not well. Now,
There's something wrong.
whether it's because
they're in
of
a cage.
the conditions that they're currently living in or because it's the plague, you can't necessarily discern as long as they're still in these conditions. So,
Okay, so I'm going to make a little motion to the rest of the party to go. Let's go back outside. I don't want to talk about their potential disease right in front of them. And so I'm gonna carry Minx, and we're gonna go back out into the sunlight.
okay. So no one attempts to talk to them at all. Like, they are all terrified, right? They've quite obviously been treated very poorly in the time that they've been in Port Gallo.
I'm gonna tell everybody that, like, hey, they've got that shit. We need to be careful, of course.
You're doing that in front of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They know it. They know what we're doing.
They know something.
Sure.
Do they? I mean, so far
They know they're sick.
We know they're sick. They've been in cages. They may be malnourished. I mean,
The
crux of the situation here is: do they have this disease, or are they just
set up to look like they have it?
No, just famished. Just right.
Well,
travel.
You never know. You never know, because they could be a discriminated group who were captured and don't actually have the disease, but were posed to look like they have the disease, so that the Zymeds would come and wipe clean.
Sway the election.
I mean, from what I've seen, this in this town, I mean, that level of planning and sophistication probably doesn't exist. But at
there
the
could be
same
dark under circuits, but regardless, you're right. We should probably go outside and discuss it.
When we get outside, I'm going to. Is the guard? He's back trying to sleep.
Yeah, he's attempting to sleep. As you guys walk out of the building, you hear one of the kids start to say something, and quickly be hushed by one of the females in there. So they start to like, "Where are you guys?" And it's shh, stop.
Can I just sneak in there? I mean, no one notices me, and I just stand there and listen.
I mean, you're small, but I would probably notice if 30 pounds jumped off my back.
You can roll a stealth against the party's passive perception if you want to get away from them. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. No, they notice you. They notice you pretty clearly.
Get back here. There's poop everywhere. Let's get back over here.
Next, in this case, caution should take precedence over excitement. We want to
But
do
I want
what
to
is
hear
right,
what they have to say.
and we will. Please,
Mom doesn't.
let us go outside where we may converse and be sensitive to their situation,
Be
whatever that
mindful of the
situation may be.
madre.
Okay. So you guys get outside.
Please.
The guy, I wouldn't even necessarily call him a guard. He's just been tasked with, hey, sit here. He's just laying there, well, sitting in the chair with the hat over his head. And as you guys come back outside, he kind of pulls the hat away from his face just a little bit, enough to look at you, and goes, "Yeah, they're fucking sick, aren't they?" And he puts the hat back over his face and tries to go back to sleep.
So
I'm going to look at Cinderstone.
yeah,
And I'm going to give him a little turtle head nod at the guy, and wake his ass up.
do I pick up on that,
Like,
or do I interpret that not as kill him?
I'm not being passive about it.
Okay. All right. So he has a hat over his face and he's snoring.
He's not snoring yet. He just woke up and talked to you and put the hat
Is
back
he
over his
propped
face.
up? Is he like in a chair, rocked back?
Yep.
All right.
all right.
All right. Those legs are coming out.
Yeah,
He's just
I want
gonna.
you to make a.
Just
I
gonna
want you to
Bruce
make a
Lee,
fucking statement.
Gonna
Okay.
just Bruce Lee these fucking legs.
All right.
His legs. His real legs. They're gone now.
Sure. Give me
Yeah, I
an
like that.
athletics.
Oh jeez, the guy's. It's an inanimate object.
What up, boy?
All right.
All the legs in the tri-state area gone.
So you kick the legs hard enough to actually break the legs off of the chair, like, when someone's sitting in a plastic
Like
lawn
this
chair.
now.
When someone's sitting in a plastic lawn chair and you kick the leg and it breaks off and they fall, that's exactly what happens. You kick the legs, the chair collapses, the chair falls apart underneath of him, he crashes down, smacks his head on something, pulls the hat away, and goes, "What the fuck?"
I slipped.
And I will now. I am looking down at him. We need 2 buckets of water, the cleanest you may find. We need them now.
Fucking clean.
Make haste.
Not from that river.
Fucking clean, mate.
He kind of stumbles to his feet and like he's having a hell of a time standing up amongst the
I'll
rubble
help
that
him
used to be a chair.
I'll help him up with a little bit of force.
Okay. So
Like a shirt pull.
Like
There's no shirt.
a leg, if he had legs. I'd pull him up by the legs.
all right. So you help him to his feet kind of roughly. And he stands up and he kind of like brushes himself off, which is obviously for naught. Like everyone in this place is covered with shit, right? How do you know he's not a noble? He ain't covered in shit. How do you know he's a king? He ain't covered in shit. Everybody in this place is just disgusting. He brushes himself off and he leans down and he picks his hat up and he puts it on top of his head and he goes, Jesus Christ, you could have just asked for water. And he looks down at his chair and he says, fuck. And he looks up at Cinderstone and he goes, that was my favorite chair.
It was.
Just rub some shit on it.
It was.
It's a flesh wound.
So
Sweet.
kind of shakes his head and he says, water, you got it. And he walks off heading towards the bar.
The logistics of him having 3 buckets of water in hand. He's got 2 and he's got
What
the
a
other one
twist.
on top of his head.
Behind the chair.
I just need 2. I need 2 buckets.
So
In
he
a bag.
walks off to the bar. And it took you guys probably 2 or 3 minutes to walk here. You would assume it's probably a couple hundred yards away. And you see him head off towards the bar.
You're sprinting to the bar to get fucked up.
I want to ask Belril, again, what did you see? What was your general impression? You know what we're looking for. We're now outside of earshot of the families, or the captives. What was your impression?
They looked sickly. I couldn't tell for sure. They did show some signs. However, it did appear to me that the young sick ones, wanted to either exclaim at us or tell us something, but presumably the child's mother said no.
So I'll interject at this time and say, don't we have testing materials to see if they actually have this disease?
Put the medallion on them.
So
have
the
skin.
stuff that Weary gave you was not necessarily testing materials for like a positive negative AIDS test, right? It was more of like vials and things for you to get samples of the soil and of the water and that kind of stuff. There's no like magic this is or isn't, right? You can't have someone piss on the stick and it shows positive or negative.
Right. I think our detection kit is the things that you're. Good news, I'm having your baby.
Bad news is the shadow monster.
Detection is based on observation. But
It looks sick.
But we could also test the soil and water that they came from to see if it's there.
Can we test the water that the guy's
I'm not-
fetching?
absolutely tested.
Yeah, we're going to need to.
Well, we don't get to
'Cause-
test it. We get to take a sample and bring it back.
Right.
But I mean,
But not
theoretically, if those people are if that water is coming from the bar, that's the place where most people are gathering, or we should probably
the
check and make
Kool-Aid.
sure the drinking water is clean.
It's the Kool-Aid we said we weren't going to drink.
Also, at that time, I'm gonna gather maybe a leg of the chair that's
Make a torch?
Yeah, I'm making torches.
Okay.
Hey, there was 2 legs, or 4 legs. There's 2 left on there.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could easily fashion a torch out of some.
Sure.
I'm sure you've got oil in one of your packs.
We made
Some
we made your
cloth
chair.
and the leg and some
A
rope.
torch.
It'd be pretty easy to
So-
fashion a torch.
So here's The guy is still not back yet. Can we see the bar? Could we see him coming?
You would be able to see him coming. Yeah, you'd probably see him
Okay.
about 100 yards away or so.
Probably smell him.
You probably smell him.
Yeah.
coming. What does he smell like?
And he's not back yet, right?
When I got up close
he's
to
he's
him,
not back yet.
it had a mixture of like caramelized onions, 4-day-old bread that's been like yeasting in the sun, with wine.
It's like after you eat a lot of caramelized onions and you start sweating, that sweat of onion where you
The
smell
meat
like an
sweat?
Italian hoagie.
Fuck, I'm hungry now. Hungry. Yeah.
All right. So
Even
fashion
though
up
this
some
is
torches.
so bad.
Guy is not back yet.
Torture. So here's I'm going to address when he returns. We will ask him
Fucking kill
to.
him.
I'm not gonna. To bring the one of the family members out into the sun, so we may examine.
Okay.
Do we
Yeah.
want to examine the one that wanted to speak?
Let us
Yes.
examine. Let us examine the women first.
Oh, okay. Fine
Not
with me.
that way, Belreal. Simply, we wish to determine if it is
Yes.
simply for conditions, or if there is indeed sickness.
For science.
But what
And
of the
I don't-
children?
I don't know what that slop was that was on the, but I don't want to wait.
Chill
through
out,
it.
Kevin Spacey.
Okay. And I think that's probably a good place to take our next break. So we're going to take a break there, and we'll see you back here on Twitch in a couple of minutes and on YouTube tomorrow for week 2, episode 3 of Zanalsin. See you back in just a couple minutes.